This year, for the first time, Massachusetts will implement early voting. But do most voters know that and know when it starts? Do you know what that date represents?
Early voting starts.
Do you know what that date represents, October 24th?
I actually don't know.
October 24th represents what in
The
Massachusetts?
first day of early voting.
Very good. Do you know what October 24th represents?
No.
In Massachusetts?
I do not.
It's the first day you can vote.
Will it be the presidential part of things or some of the ballot questions in Massachusetts?
It's all about presidential.
All right, let me introduce today's OTR Political Roundtable analyst. Democrat Marianne Marsh is with us, and Kirsten Hughes, the chairwoman of the Mass Republican Party, is with us as well. Ladies, thank you for joining us. You just heard what Ted was talking about. October 24th has become a new voting date around here, if you will. Is it going to affect the outcome of the vote? How will it impact the race? Let me
All
ask
you need
that.
to know is that in 2012, Barack Obama won Election Day every single day except the actual Election Day in November. Mitt Romney won that day, but Barack Obama was reelected. That tells you everything about what early voting can do and why Republicans spent the last 4 years trying to kill it.
That sounds powerful, Kirsten.
Well, I think it's interesting because a lot of voting has already begun in Iowa, other places,
Right.
and there's still more information. There's still another debate. There's still more to come. Late October surprises, who knows? So I don't know how that will affect things. You know, people want to take back their vote. They can't now. So, but here in Massachusetts, we're running a very robust get out the vote operation.
More and more Republicans are walking away. Trump claims he doesn't need them, but his campaign manager had this to say.
Again, God bless you, everybody.
Enough of the pussyfooting around in terms of, do you support us or do you not support us? And the fact is...
So any accident that she chose that expression, pussyfooting, and will there be lots of Republicans hedging their bets by Election Day? Let's start with you, Marianne.
Well, the fact is Donald Trump needs to get Republicans back because that was the biggest drop he took, except for women, after the tape last Friday where he made all those comments. And that's why he's going after Hillary Clinton so hard now with the red meat. Put her in jail. I'm going after her. I'm going after her husband and everybody else to get Republicans back, because that's what buoyed him in the polls. When he was finally able to consolidate Republicans, he was able to even it up with Clinton. What he will never get back are women voters, and that's his problem.
Is she right about that?
Look, no question about the fact that Republicans are uncomfortable about some of the campaign's tactics, some of the things that have come out in the last couple of weeks. But this goes back to the heart of this election is about: risk versus change. How much risk are you willing to take to get the change that you want? Now, Donald Trump ramped up the risk factor last week with a lot of these revelations. However, nobody motivates people to get the change they want like Hillary Clinton, who is the poster child for politics as usual and the political establishment.
But if you are given the thesis that women voters are probably make up the largest demographic of undecideds right now, does something like this automatically move them away from Donald Trump with revelations coming out day after day?
Well, we'll have to see. Again, he apologized. He came out. We have talked about it. I think folks know that this is troubling language. This is troubling things from the Trump campaign. But we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
He apologizes. Does that balance it out? I mean, honestly,
No.
I have been in a million locker rooms. I've never heard that level of conversation in the locker room. I've heard nasty levels of conversation, but not that level.
And here's what's worse. I mean, first of all, how much did it take everyone to get here to finally say, maybe, especially women, maybe I won't be with Donald Trump? Come on now, number one. Number two, in that debate, the second debate, Anderson Cooper said, did you ever act on the things you said in that tape?
And he said no.
I did not. And here it is
It took
now
him a
this
while to
week
get that.
because he was trying to avoid it. Now we have 10 people. And that was before we were on the air today. 10 people who have come forward and said, yes, he did that to me. 10.
Let's switch the conversation over to Donald Trump.
Well, let's talk about Trump continues to hit his rival, Hillary Clinton, on more alleged emails released by WikiLeaks. And Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, points the finger squarely at Russia. So will this move the undecided voters? And if yes, how? Marianne, let me ask you that.
Yes, and here's why. The fact is, these emails were stolen from private American citizens, private emails stolen from American citizens by a foreign government, and in this case, Russia, who provided them to WikiLeaks to take down Hillary Clinton. They want Donald Trump to be the president of the United States. And I will tell you right now, if any American is found out to have cooperated in this effort, they will be in bigger trouble than anyone else, because it is the worst crime you can commit against the United States of America, period.
So I guess my question is, can the Democrats successfully move the question question to that as opposed to the content of the emails.
Well, look, I don't think they're able to in this conspiracy theory, smoke
Facts.
and mirrors game that John Podesta is engaging in is not going to change the fact that these emails goes to the heart of Hillary Clinton's problems. Her weakness is her trustworthiness, and the fact that people don't trust her, they don't believe her. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't, talk about when she's wrong. And so I think that this is what voters have had the most problem with, and you saw her struggle with that in the primary, and she's going to continue to struggle with that until November.
It's not the Democrats. It's the President of the United States, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the CIA, and the Defense Intelligence Agency. Every single one of them have said Russia's behind this. So this isn't a partisan thing. This is an American thing.
No.
You're undermining
What
the
I'm
United States of America and our election process. That is un-American.
What
that
I'm saying is John Podesta
That's
took this to
unconstitutional.
another level in making it a partisan issue that
It is not. It is a
Republicans would-
patriotic
He's
issue.
the one who took.
Patriotic
it's always
issue.
patriotic when Democrats are on the wrong
So you're saying
side
the
of
president,
the issue.
the CIA,
However,
the FBI, the DHS, the DIA, and all of them are lying. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying that John
No, is
Podesta
that what you're
made this
saying?
into a
You're
partisan
saying the president of the
issue,
United States and
that
all
is-
of them are lying.
That is just to do a smoke and mirrors game.
You're
to
saying they're
detract
lying.
from what the
You're
actual
saying they're lying.
content of
That is
the emails
that is
say.
treason.
The
That
fact
is
that
treason. Treason.
Wow, this is quite a Sunday.
Okay, well, you know what? Okay, 4 weeks from now, let's see how this turns out.
We will. We
We
can
can spend
on
the rest of the
election
show
day.
on
No,
this,
no,
but
no,
let's
no,
move on
it'll
to
be
the
before
Senate.
Election Day.
You want to move on? Wait a minute.
Well, we could spend the rest of the
that's a
show on this.
crime.
Republicans need at least 5 of their senators to win re-election or they'll lose control. Let's start with New Hampshire. Now that Kelly Ayotte has declared that she won't be voting for Trump, does this make the road any easier for her?
Well,
Kirsten?
Kelly Ayotte was ahead in the polls before she denounced Donald Trump and said she wouldn't be voting for him. And the reason is because Kelly Ayotte has a proven track record in New Hampshire, working for New Hampshire folks, making sure that our country stays secure. And polls show people don't trust Maggie Hassan on those issues.
Is this latest decision too little too late, Marianne?
Of course it is, and voters are punishing anyone who leaves Trump now, and other voters are punishing them for leaving him. So I think Democrats will win New Hampshire, Illinois, Wisconsin. Look at Pennsylvania, Nevada for the 5.
Silence.
Trying to be short here.
We'll be right back.